Hello and welcome back to Inquisitor Martyr. Last time we dealt with more chaos, and we're just going to keep dealing with chaos through the Harbingers of Hate questline.
I have an urgent message for you, Inquisitor.
Translocation completed. But this is definitely not the bridge of the Inferior Eternum. Tech Priest, what happened?
Unforeseeable anomalies, Inquisitor. The teleportarium uses short-burst warp infusion, and there was interference.
Looks like I need to find a way to this Lord and target.
Correct. Addendum. Warp engine activation detected on the target. The mission should be resolved as soon as possible. Entering the immaterium on a Chaos vessel is calculated as an extremely undesirable outcome.
So this is going to be slightly old news, but still pretty new. At least by the time this video comes out. But the Imperial Guard are getting new units. Well, new models. The units are the same. But, I mean, it's pretty cool. We start off with Ursula Creed, who's just a HQ unit. It's the daughter of Ursakar Creed, which I will sit here and go into his history because it's actually really funny. So, Creed was a Castellan lord, been around for ages, and in, I think, 3rd edition? Maybe 4th edition? He had a very unique ability. If you know what it is, you know it was fun. The ability was to essentially stealth any unit. This means they would function like a scout or an ambusher and not be able to be targeted or anything until you're up close. You have to kind of detect them. The problem, as you can probably figure out, is the wording. Any unit. Not any model. Not anything like that, just any unit. So, if you wanted to stealth a unit of guardsmen, okay, they're stealthed. If you wanted to stealth a sentinel, okay, you could do that. If you wanted to stealth a Chimera tank, you could do that too. You could also stealth a Baneblade, or a Warhound Titan, because it was worded in that way. You could have literally a Titan just pop out of a 2-foot tall bush and just start walloping people. The rule was quickly changed for very, very obvious reasons. The shenanigans are fun, but it completely broke the game. But yeah, Ursula is the daughter of Creed and doesn't get nearly as goofy of an ability, understandably so. But then going with that, there's a new Kasrkin model, which is cool. I like seeing Imperial Guard get updates to their models, because a lot of their stuff is old. It's just like how the Eldar have some old models. Instead of constantly pumping out new stuff, it's nice to see some old stuff finally get brought up to proper standards. Horus Heresy's going through the same thing, getting plastic models of formerly pewter models. And then the last one is actually a new Sentinel model, at least. Which it looks good. You know, it's got all the bells and whistles. The auto cannon, the plasma cannon, the flamer. It looks good. It's all up armored. I believe the set also lets you make a non-armored version, which is cool. I genuinely like it. I think it's nice to see the stuff come back, and the Sentinel did kind of need a little bit of a appearance update. It did look a little wonky. Now I mean, it's still weird looking, but it looks better. And in the end, that's kind of the important thing here.
A demon was bound to the why this chest was so heavily protected.
So that's all that really is coming out for IG right now, but it's cool. There's some discussion on whether or not we're going to see Tempestus Scions get moved to their own army, or what's going to happen to them with the Kasrkin change, or at least the new Kasrkin models. Because people think there's going to be probably like a update to their unit stats, which makes sense. If they're not good, you're not going to make a new version of them. Simple as that. You know, nobody likes to buy the crap model. It's like blood crushers. Who uses a blood crusher in any chaos army anymore? They're just not good. They don't get any bonuses for cover. They don't get, I think it's advance in charge or something along those lines. They don't get any good abilities. They're honestly just not that good. To the point where you're better off replacing that whole unit in your roster with pretty much anything else. So it's, you know, it's one of those things. We're probably going to get some changes. Hopefully they're good. Hopefully they're not meta breaking, but rather meta adjusting. But you never know with 40k. It could go splendidly, or it could just completely implode on itself. Kind of the nature of the beast here. I was thinking about like the Chaos Ogryn and wondering if we're gonna get any new like Ogryn, just Imperial Guard Ogryns. I was trying to think, what would you really do to make them stand out? Because that's kind of the big thing, is they have to be different. What I think would be cool is an anti-vehicle Ogryn, like one with a rocket launcher. I think like underslung kind of launcher or something. Or maybe he just carries like a M1 bazooka kind of thing. And then you have on the end a big like metal band with spikes on it. That's all reinforced. That way the Ogryn would, in terms of lore, just grab the exhaust end and just start swinging for dudes and clobbering them. Oh, I ran out of space again. But I think that'd be neat. Interesting little way of giving them a new weapon or a new build. It does run the risk, as I say it, of kind of superseding any builds for like a setup team. Of course, you could have range, like a range restriction or something. Just something, I don't know what exactly, to necessitate setup teams still. Because otherwise, yeah, you could sit there and just have kind of a fast-moving or semi-fast-moving IG army with no setup teams. And while you probably could rig up an army that does that already, I feel like the second you start introducing fast-moving anti-vehicle, you're kind of putting it into a weird spot. Because the stuff would then have to be flimsy, and Ogrins aren't that flimsy, so now you have hard-hitting, somewhat tanky, semi-fast movers.
Millions, perhaps billions, perish in this system. The blood of innocence calls for vengeance.
I guess what could be done is kind of a up-armored Ogren, if that makes sense, like reinforced, got all sorts of fancy stuff. Essentially like Alien, where Ripley has the exosuit. That, but it's just an Ogren in an exosuit. Almost like a Mega Knob. I think it'd be an interesting idea. Don't know how it will go in the end, you know. Just sitting here spitballing, but I think it'd be cool. Because I know there's I think it's the Bull Ogrins. They have them in this game, where if you look at them, it's the melee guys, but they have tank treads as armor that they're wearing, as like a armor loincloth, which I thought was a cool idea.
The directive.
Inquisitor, you have a... I am quite...
Captain Kavinsky reporting for duty, Inquisitor. I will be your liaison officer with the regional Astra Militarum headquarters.
A brief one.
The current situation is volatile. We are in the middle of a counterattack. The resistance is tougher than we expected. They have occupied a box station, and their propaganda could lead to a widespread rebellion.
I see.
Your support here is invaluable. The Emperor protects.
Oh yeah, Inner Circle, I forgot about these guys. You know, this kind of plays into what I've said over the past few episodes, to a degree. Like, Alpha Legion is the one good faction when it comes to starting, like, rebellions and insurrection. But they're also terrible, because it's literally just a dude over a Vox channel just being like, sounding like Discount Bane. Going, you need to do this thing. I will cast you into darkness, Batman. And it's like, come on. Do a little more. Like I said with the stuff with the Obliterator virus. You know, that would be a pretty smart move if you're trying to cause some chaos. Or just straight up get some Nurgly juice and make zombies. That'll definitely shake things up. For trying to disrupt things, they don't do a good job a lot of times. Or the disruptions are either kind of a 50-50 thing. They either work and the rebels take over, or they fail horribly and the rebels die. And then it falls into that, like I've said, the Zinchian, Snidely Whiplash kind of twiddle my mustache, haha, it was my plan all along for this plan to fail, because it actually feeds into this plan to potentially go right or wrong, which then works with this plan. It's like, okay, calm the hell down. If you're planning 15 steps ahead, you're just gonna fail at this point. No plan survives first contact with the enemy. Or, as Mike Tyson put it, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. But you'd think Alpha Legion would have better plans. Which I guess kind of plays into that idea people have of like, are Alpha Legion actually good? And they're just fighting chaos through this clandestine infiltration thing. And as much as I'd like to believe that, I feel like it's just kind of a meme. Because let's be real, that is kind of stupid. Because how many other guys have been captured and killed for heresy? And there's even the argument of like, oh, well, they're fighting for, like, the true version of the Imperium, and I'm like, but Chaos isn't. If they were trying to fight for the true version of the Imperium, you would see them pushing more, trying to support the groups, like within the Inquisition, that aren't exactly radicals, but they're not the Puritan groups. You know, trying to get the Emperor to not be seen as a god. You know, screaming death to the corpse Emperor, to the false Emperor, doesn't exactly win hearts and minds here. Yeah, that's why I think it's just kind of a meme. There's no way it's a legitimate thing. The only character I think actually has some redemption, even though they do dubious things at times, is Cypher. And that's because he was able to actually meet with the Emperor on the Golden Throne on Terra. You know, if he was a big bad, he wouldn't have been allowed in there, and I don't think he would have made it out alive. I think him, and to a degree some of the Fallen, are the true wild card of 40K. Short of that, everybody else is pretty set in their ways. The only other wild card options have been kind of taken off the table. Well, most of them. No, I'd say almost all of them, because some wild card options are just good. It would just be weird if they suddenly showed up. But the ones that could go either way would be like the clone of Fulgrim, currently sitting in possession of Trazen the Infinite. Granted, he could break out Trazen has had some of his exhibits break, or he's had to release them due to Tyranids and other things kind of leaking out in chaos and all that. So there is a chance we could see him later. But knowing how 40k goes, I imagine they would introduce him just to kill him off. Because that would throw such a wrench in storylines. Be like, hey, this Primarch is back from the dead. I mean, not really from the dead, but he's a current demon prince, but this is the good version. I just can't see it happening. As much as I have said before I'd love to have it happen, it just won't. It's too cool. Let's be real, it's too cool of an option for purely good characters that could come out. I mean, you got Vulcan, you have Lionel Johnson. Corvus Corax is still quote-unquote alive. He's now a shadow monster living in the Eye of Terror, hunting chaos, but he's alive-ish. Will the Empire accept him? Hell no. Second he steps onto Imperial stuff, he's dead. There's no way. They'd be like, ah yes, the Primarch who turned into a giant shadow monster from being in the Eye of Terror. He's totally not corrupted by chaos at all. I swear. No, he shows up, he dies. He has to third-party fights or he's not going to be able to do stuff. I don't even know if the Raven Guard would accept him at this point. But yeah, the other one would be Jagatai Khan, because he went into the webway and has just never been seen again. And considering how weird, wacky, and uncharted the webway is, there's a good chance he's still alive. He's just elsewhere. It would be cool. I'd love to see the Primarchs come back. Especially because Chaos has like all their Primarchs. Or at least most of them. So I'm just kind of sitting here thinking, you know, give us back our Primarchs for the Loyalists, and let's just have a big ol' fancy brawl and see how it goes. Plus, it sells miniatures. And who's gonna say, especially Games Workshop, are they gonna say no to making money? I don't think they would. I think they would be down, but it's just the question of how do they go about it? But I mean, making money, there's a lot of ways they can make money. It's just... Oh wow, that's actually automated. Huh. There's a lot of ways, it's just balance issues. I mean, I've said it before, there's the... what are they? The Beastmen. I'd love to see Beastmen get an army.
We humbly request you.
But, you know, that's a lot to do and balance. But that is all for now. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to hit the like button. It helps out the channel a lot. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.